So it is Daniel Jones's world, I guess, and we are all just living in it. What a surprise, and a fun surprise. You know, I'm happy to see Daniel Jones do well. I think we kind of all sort of writ him off, right? I think most of us kind of weren't crazy about the draft selection when it happened, but kind of acknowledged, okay, he's a fine prospect, just not a great one. And it was weird how he had a really good rookie season and then did not improve at all his second year, and we all just wrote him off. He's playing really well year 3, so maybe we shouldn't be so quick to get rid of these young quarterbacks. I mean, listen, look at Josh Allen, for example. He had that year 3 jump. I still want to see more from Jones, but I think the biggest thing is he's not turning the ball over, stuff like that. This video is going to be about how him and the Giants offense as a whole were really able to do a great job against a pretty good defense against the Saints. All right, so let's start off with this play. What's going to happen is that the way this concept works is it's zone coverage, and this is what the Saints do a lot of, quarters coverage or cover 2. And it's interesting because as we're seeing teams do this more and more, we're seeing new ways to counteract it. And one of the things the Giants did a lot of was just stuff like this, where you have a receiver who's going to run a deeper route, which his job is to kind of get the safety to, follow that route. And then you have Kenny Golladay kind of run over the middle. It hopefully gets into a gap in coverage, and Daniel Jones can hit him. Right when this play starts, at first it appears as though it's working really well, right? I mean, Golladay, looks to be open. The safety definitely is getting taken away with that first route. So now Jones could make the throw, but here's the issue. There's multiple New Orleans, players over the middle that if Jones did want to make this throw, quite frankly, he has to fit it in the mailbox, right? That's a very difficult throw to make. He'd have to throw it high, so Golladay would probably have to make a good catch. It's just a risky play. So Jones is going to do the smart thing here, which is not make this throw, at least not yet. He's going to wait. And as you see, looking back at him, he has time. So he doesn't have to try and force anything right here. He just waited a little bit. See, now he makes this throw, throws it over, which allowed Golladay to make that play. By the time I paused it, it would have been already too late to try to fit it through that first gap. But the second gap, that's when he decided to make it through. Just some smart stuff by Daniel Jones. And this is kind of just that repetition, right? He's now in his third year where he's just getting better and getting better at this stuff. Instead of throwing it earlier where he maybe would have gotten an interception last year, he's throwing it a little later. This is just the stuff you learn from being in the NFL for a few years and why it's really difficult to be successful as a young quarterback. We got to talk about something like this, where what's going to happen on this play is it's going to, again, be quarters coverage. And one way we've seen teams attack quarters coverage a bit more this year is with deep routes, which seems counterintuitive a little bit, right? Why would a deep route be good against quarters coverage? There's a safety and a cornerback further back. But the reason is because when you're playing quarters coverage, you might play a lot more aggressively, so you might be running further in if there is a route over the middle, meaning that, that's going to happen on this play with the safety. Like, look, Jones takes the snap, and the safety does kind of move in a little bit. He's playing aggressive, so now it's become a true one-on-one matchup. So these situations can still happen even when it's quarters coverage, and, be a good team and take advantage of that stuff sometimes. So this is John Ross who's running the route. Obviously, he's most known for A, not living up to the hype when he got drafted, and B, being extremely fast, and those kind of go together. You could make it 1A and 1B. So those fast receivers are difficult to hit in stride because there's just not a lot of guys you can practice with them, right? But Jones does make this throw perfectly, and Ross, I guess you could argue it's a little bit underthrown, but a very good throw. I mean, if that's underthrown, it's underthrown by a yard or two. So incredible throw by Daniel Jones, and to get the touchdown there. Also a weird play where I'm not sure if that would have been a touchdown, but seemingly the Saints had no interest in picking up the ball, so ends up being a touchdown regardless. But I'm not sure if that was ruled a fumble or not afterwards, but I don't think anyone really cared. Moving on to this play, I think this play, it can't be overstated how much this means to the Giants offense is Jones's ability to run with the football. Not just in, designed runs, but also in scrambles, where a team like the Saints, who they don't play a lot of man coverage anyways, but on this play they are, and this is a big reason why you just don't see too many teams play this type of coverage against Jones. Watch how Jones takes the snap, and then he's going to be able to scramble with the football, and he's going to pick up 20 yards on this play and eventually get out of bounds. This was sort of towards the end of the half. There was 11 seconds left when Jones took the snap, so there were 3 seconds left after it. But this helped set up a Hail Mary attempt that they otherwise would not have been able to set up had, they still been stuck at the 32-yard line, although Daniel Jones would go on to throw an interception on said Hail Mary attempt, so maybe it would have been better off if he never did this to begin with, just for his own stats, but obviously that's in hindsight. And also something like this, just the Giants' offense is way better this year. That's a huge aspect of it. And I know their offensive line has troubles. We all know their offensive line has troubles. That's not news to anybody. But the receiving core looks very good, and I think looks even better when you actually put hey, Kadarius Toney, that super awesome first-round draft pick you had, maybe start playing him some more. That's a good idea. But anyways, the way this play works is that, so it's a cover 3 zone right here, but with a receiver who's on the bottom of the screen, kind of running a deeper route, it's going to take away the deep corner to the offense's left. You then have another receiver who's lined up on the opposite side of the field. He eventually runs into that spot that will now be vacant. It's a pretty good concept against this type of play. It's a good concept against zone coverage in general. And so watch how Jones takes the snap, runs the play action, which also helps, get players moving in, just sets things up further. And now, as you see, just looking at this, there is going to be that gap, basically right where the number 40 is on the field. That area is going to be wide open. So this is also an aspect, is it's not just Jones is looking better, it's, hey, guys are getting more open now. That makes every quarterback look better. As you see, Jones makes the throw, and they are able to pick up a good amount of yards there. So that play, not so much a Daniel Jones type play, that's more of a, hey, receivers are getting open, concepts are working better type of play. That's what's made this offense look, have a breath of fresh air and make Daniel Jones look better. This play is another one. So what's going to happen here is that it's going to once again be zone coverage. And again, it's a pretty simple concept designed to beat this type of coverage. 2 receivers on one side of the field, one runs deep, one runs and out. Watch what happens. Jones takes the snap, and at this point, you definitely have a window where you can make this throw. So last year, a lot of times during these plays, no one's open, and then Daniel Jones doesn't have anybody to throw it to. Not so much this year. There's actually guys getting open. As you see, Jones does make the throw, and you're able to get the completion there. Good play by the entire Giants offense there. Kenny Golladay, offensive line, Daniel Jones. It's kind of how I felt about the entire game for the Giants, even though the point totals weren't crazy. The offense moved the ball very well, and they probably played better than the point totals would indicate, especially in the first 3 quarters. So yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Listen, it's fun. I think Pro Football Focus has him as like a top 5 quarterback right now. Not sure I'd go that far, but again, he's playing very well. He is doing a lot very impressive, and again, you get good receivers, it makes his job a lot easier. That's just the reality of football in 2021. If you get him a better offensive line, he'll look even better, right? This could be an awesome offense if they could fix the O-line, but even without it, he's looking good. The team is looking, well, the team's not looking great, but at least the offense is looking pretty good with Jones, and they got a big win, so good for them. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.